Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're talking about last night's AEW Dynamite. But first, we've got some news about Keith Lee and what's going on with him concerning his health. Mm-hmm. And also Andrade El Idolo, Andrade Cien Almas, back to WWE. Got some backstage details on how his departure from AEW went down. Larson, what's in the news?
So this comes to us from Fightful Select. They got some details on Andrade's apparent AEW departure, stating that sources told them that Andrade, at one point at least, considered signing a new deal with AEW despite what was described as a, quote, frustrating process, but let AEW know he was finishing up with the company shortly before World's End. And that some within AEW expected Andrade to show up at WWE the week following his AEW departure. Fightful adds that Andrade pushed for Ric Flair to join AEW, and Charlotte, of course, who was married to Andrade, advocated for him to return to WWE.
Yeah. Do you think it's more likely that, given that we haven't seen him yet, that they're just going to hold off until the Rumble, which is like a week away, a week and change away.
9 days away.
Yeah. I mean, you know, people like the big, by the way, everybody in the live crowd right here, I'm going to ask you to do us a quick favor here. Keep your ears open for us, because I got a new audio interface that I'm using. I want to make sure that we sound kind of our volumes aren't wildly out of whack.
Yes.
Like, I see the levels, but I don't know.
Yes.
You know, people love the big returns. They love the big debuts. They love, the shock surprise entrance. Andrade could be one of those. Not too shocking, but still, it's always a fun way to sort of, and he's not the type that it's such a big return that he has to come in and win the thing, because that ain't going to happen. But it could establish, whatever his next feud is going to be. I mean,
exactly.
Obviously his old manager is Zelina Vega, currently, associated with LWO. Will there be something there? There's other, people that he's had dealings with before back in WWE. Is he going to pick up something from there, or is it going to be something fresh? Mm-hmm. Be kind of interesting to see how that goes down.
Definitely. Ever since reports, started surfacing, I mean, most prominently that fight with Sammy Guevara backstage, after he called him out on social media. We've speculated about whether Andrade would want to go back to WWE, especially now with Triple H in charge, running things. And it seems to be the case. I guess until he ends up somewhere else other than WWE, I'm assuming he's going to be in WWE at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think so. As well. Interested to see what happens there. It's got to be nice for him and Charlotte to be
exactly
reunited.
But I mean, Charlotte's going to be out for a while because she has a knee injury, so
yeah,
it's a bummer. Although she's already rehabbing. I mean, some of the stuff that's, I think, 2 weeks out of surgery they had her doing. She was doing some leg press. I was like, wow, 2 weeks out of surgery, already doing leg press. That's impressive.
She gonna have a John Cena-esque return?
Maybe to, 2008.
Yeah, my goodness gracious.
He came back months early from a pectoral tear or something like that.
Yeah. By the way, some people are saying that you're a little on the quieter side than me. Don't do anything. You don't do anything.
No, I'm not gonna do anything. I mumble. I'm a mumbler.
You're naturally, as Mr. Dope says here, Steve is just naturally loud. Totally true. Yeah. But also, that's why we got to compensate for that. Exactly. I boosted Larson a little bit. Please keep me updated. Also, my dog back here, another X Factor, growling and whining at me.
I think that's the most prominent X Factor potentially for the state of our audio today, yes.
That could be, absolutely. But we keep on trucking, just like Keith Lee, who's going to be keeping on trucking. But first, he's going to get a couple of surgeries. We have our first update on his health status since he was pulled from his match against Swerve Strickland at World's End, and it comes courtesy of House of Wrestling. That's Haus, not Hous.
Which is German for house.
Right. Well, there you go. Yeah. The site, but it's an English language site. The site reports this in a post on social media, which came from a private account that House of Wrestling was asked not to share a link to. Ooh. Are we? Oh, no. But we got it out there anyways. Lee gave the following update on his condition. Took roughly 19 years, but I guess it's my turn. Time to get fixed. Here's to double surgeries. Certainly one way to start 2024. He did not provide any other details on his injuries or what surgeries he will be undergoing.
Well, best of luck to Keith Lee in recuperation from double surgery.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes back soon, or as soon as he is healthy to come back. It's a bummer that we haven't gotten his match with Swerve. That's a feud that when it kicked off seemed like it could really launch both of them to the next level. And it's a bummer we haven't gotten it yet, but hopefully Keith Lee, he can get these medical needs taken care of.
Yeah.
And come back stronger and better than ever.
Absolutely. Remember that time he returned and he was like 30 years older? And then he like de-aged himself.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
that was funny. It was like either he's just going for this new look, hey, gray everywhere, or he's just tired of dealing with it.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like pitching to Tony Khan, hey Tony, how about this? It's a new gimmick. I give up. I'm wearing sweatpants, letting the gray out, letting the hair grow a little bit.
Maybe he was going through, the Big Three League. Mm-hmm. He was going through the roster page and saw Catino Mobley.
Oh man, he looks like 1,000,000 years old.
Where he's got gray hair.
Yeah, it's great.
But I saw on Instagram that Catino's still balling people up. That's awesome to see.
Oh, are you kidding me? That dude is yeah, man. Because here's the thing, like they usually retire when they're in their like 30s, or they're, if at best like mid 30s. So even when they're like in their early 40s, they're just killing people out there, especially like they go and they hook up with some like B-leaguers.
Yeah. Well, Catino's 48. He's older than we are.
He's like our age, man. Yeah. Oh man, I still have that one guy right here that's trying to like build up his army. Got one gray hair right here. And I'm like, hey, this podcast can afford one of those, man.
So are you plucking? Are you taking them out?
No, I'm letting him stick around. A reminder that,
keep you humble.
To keep me humble, time catches up with all of us.
It's true.
The fire in which we burn, Larson.
Wow, poetic even.
A wise man once said that. I think it was out of a Star Trek movie anyways. It was Alex DeLarge in Star Trek Generations.
That's right.
Yeah. Time is the fire in which we burn, Captain.
So we wish Keith Lee a quick recovery.
He's awesome, man. He
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. And hopefully you'll see him back in the ring when he's fully healed and ready to return. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait till he comes back.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dynamite. Probably the most newsworthy thing coming out of last night's episode was this new repackage for Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, the Young Bucks.
So we're gonna do the bad first, and then we'll get to the good. Okay, cool.
I guess so, because the main event was awesome. But
the main event was awesome. That Dustin Runnels match was awesome too.
It was good. A little long maybe, but it was a good match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm kind of two minds about the Young Bucks thing, because the interview last night, they had a sit-down interview with Renee.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Where they're talking about, it's directly referencing the CM Punk stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, they don't mention him by name probably because they can't, but it's what they're talking about.
Yeah, the gist of it is we brought in these ex-WWE guys, CM Punk, and it was a bad move.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Mm-hmm. They took 5 minutes to say that.
It took a long time to get there, and Matt's doing
they got their Vince McMahon mustaches.
Matt is doing direct, like especially the second half of it. He was graveling up his voice and basically doing a Vince McMahon impression.
He sounded like though at times. He sounded like Dax Harwood.
He did, yeah. He was doing that a little bit.
Yeah, that's what somebody was doing. I was like, man, is he trying to do Dax?
Yeah.
Is he making fun of Dax?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Vince. I think it was. I think it's a direct thing because he was also saying
there was something he said. When we go through it, I'll remember what it is. But it sounded like something Vince would say.
Yeah, there was something directly what Vince was stuff that we've heard that Vince has.
We would never ask anybody to do anything we weren't willing to do ourselves.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So what did you like this? Are you optimistic, pessimistic, cynical?
We've talked in the past about how Matt Jackson specifically just has one of those faces that could irritate people. I'll put it that way.
Good point.
He can come off as insufferable at times. It seems like. I don't know him. Never met the guy.
Right, yeah.
But based on how he presents himself on TV, he can come off as a bit insufferable.
Yeah.
That works with this particular gimmick. And I thought he toned down kind of his overacting a little bit or channeled it in a way that wasn't as over the top for this.
Yeah.
And so that I appreciated. I wish Nick had spoken more because I thought his little bit was pretty good.
The Young Bucks are a story of two individuals. For me personally, one of which honestly can do no wrong, and that's Nick.
Yeah.
I think that whenever he talks, whenever he's in a new character or a new gimmick or whatever, I am always entertained because it doesn't seem like he's trying. It seems like he's having fun with whatever he's doing.
Yes.
Matt always seems like he's taking it so seriously and trying so hard, and there's something off-putting about that.
Yeah, and that's I think that's goes into kind of the insufferable nature of his character, how it's generally been presented on TV. He's a good guy. You're like, gosh,
yeah,
it's kind of grating on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely see that. Whenever it was like he had to express some sort of, whenever he has to act, whether it's a Hangman Page, I'm feeling awkward because Hangman's making shit awkward with the Dark Order and stuff. It's always just very actorly, and there's nothing you could do about that. Like some people just don't have that natural ability to act. And all the, attempts, all the trying is not going to make it any easier or come off as any better. He just comes off as not genuine.
Yeah. Everything, all his emoting is too large.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
When some stuff should be subtle, and Nick is really good at being subtle, almost to the point of being too subtle.
When he's a normal good guy, like he's just quiet. He's just mumbles. You can't even notice he's there. When he's a bad guy, he's hilarious.
Yeah,
because again,
calm like a bird, it's great.
I always just, and I have no idea if this is the dynamic because Matt's older, right?
Yeah.
I always get the feeling that Matt comes up with the idea and Nick is like, okay, let's do this. And Matt's the one who's trying so hard to get that idea across, and Nick is just doing it.
Yeah.
That's maybe it's a weird projection. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too deep into it. That's what I get from it watching. With this right here, what we were given last night, does it seem like it is, given that CM Punk obviously has moved on, and yes, there have been references more to the effect of, you sabotage yourself in WWE. That's sort of the line that Seth and Drew have given him. It'd be interesting to see what Cody says to him this week. As opposed to laying any blame or making a story going plot with it. There's no plot there with CM Punk's return. His plot, his story is, I want to get to the main event of WrestleMania. Yeah. I've got business here. They're making a story out of what has happened in real life that we all know about. So these characters of theirs, they're dancing around it. They're being almost cartoonishly, at least Matt is, like Vince McMahon. Now, on sort of first glance, watching this last night, I was cringing kind of hard. But when I texted you about it, and I forget exactly what you said, but we sort of came to the conclusion, if they find a way to have some fun with this, it could be entertaining. Mm-hmm. The bad thing is going to be if they just try to take it too seriously, if they try too hard with it and don't have a lot of fun with it, which seems like it might be ridiculous to me because they've got these ridiculous Vince McMahon mustaches. Yeah. And Matt's obviously doing the impersonation. I just don't know how much, like, is the inside baseball stuff just over? Like, is it just like, do we really need more inside baseball?
I don't know. And if this is kind of the genesis of the idea and they go somewhere else with it that's more than just inside baseball, then that could be something. You mentioned having fun with it. If their beef with people backstage is, you came here to take advantage of the popularity success of AEW without buying in, without buying in on the ethos, on the philosophy, change the world. You came in here to ride the coattails of AEW and get a good paycheck while in between stops at WWE. And if they go up to people who they think that way.
Yeah.
And there might be some fun stuff there, especially in the roles as EVPs.
Yeah.
You know, if hey, we're your boss. You got to have a match with us and prove that you're really into AEW, stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Something silly with it. That could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just, if they continue kind of the path that they kind of set up with this first promo, nothing about this first interview really seemed fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that
right.
was, between that and it being very long,
too
long, that was my major beef with it.
Yeah, it was.
There was a way
long.
you could have condensed what Matt said into, like, I don't know, half the time.
It was pretty self-indulgent. It felt.
It was.
Yeah, Heather's got a point here about because the last time somebody did something like this was Brody Lee when he made his debut, you know, as the Exalted One. The first skit they did was him eating steak and yelling at people. It was all stuff that we'd heard of Vince McMahon, but that was fun as hell, and that's the difference. Matt Jackson's no Brody Lee, and Brody was, and then he sort of evolved it into its own. You know,
he took the idea of Vince being a hothead backstage.
He took it to its logical, abstractly funny conclusion, you know, endpoint, and, you know, throwing papers at everybody. It was wildly funny. It was creative. It was a burst of energy using that seed of an idea. And this seems like, I don't know. I'll give it time. I said before that, like, I've never really been into the Young Bucks as like actual characters, although I've enjoyed a lot of their matches. They have had some of the best matches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was a different way they could have gone about this, where maybe they come back and they say, look, we're just trying to move on. But then all signs point the other way, like they're not ready to move on. And they start taking it to the guy, you know, the ex-WWE guys, maybe something along those lines where it's like, oh, you said you were moving on, but you're not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, this seems like, you know, they wanted to do a repackaging, and they felt like, hey, we were sort of at the you know, the center point of all the drama here. So let's go ahead and face it head on. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. I hope it's something that they have a lot of fun with. Yeah. And we'll just go from there, I guess.
Yeah. Another thing that wasn't so great about Dynamite is that Chris Jericho is on the show. It doesn't seem like he's taking any time off.
Didn't look like they wrote him off, does it?
Nope.
No.
Which is probably not the best idea.
You're right. I mean, dude, honestly, at this point, there are a couple of acts in AEW. I feel like, you know, I was thinking about this the other day because Jericho, we always credit for being sort of a master of reinvention. While in AEW, his reinventions have been kind of surface level, you know. Like, there's not a
new
huge
nicknames, but it's the same character pretty much.
Not a huge difference between Painmaker and, you know, Inner Circle Chris Jericho, whatever that is.
It seems like a lot of the things, these new reinventions, these nicknames are things you could put on a T-shirt and sell.
Exactly right.
Like the Demo God. The Demo God's no different than the Ocho, no different than the Wizard Chris Jericho. You know.
Yeah. And I was trying to
nicknames to slap on a shirt.
Yeah, and I went to Peacock last night because I had a thought. And I wanted to see if there was any time in WWE where you could fast forward 5 years or rewind 5 years and see the same thing happening. Like the same character doing the same type of promo. And maybe it's Cena, because Cena was doing the same shtick for a long time. Yeah. You know, I'm sure it exists. But generally speaking, there's a churn in WWE and even in the rest of AEW. Jericho has just been doing the same shit for 5 years now in AEW. Mm-hmm. And it's a combination of that and just all the little things that sort of accumulate into the one big thing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just old, and I was hoping that they would write him off for a little while. But he's an act that really, I don't really know. I don't know what he brings anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just don't.
I don't either. No,
I
just
don't either.
Don't. And I've kind of felt that way for a while. Probably going back at least to the Ricky Starks feud.
I think the Ricky Starks feud was like, that was the one where it was like, do we really need, like, is he doing anything for anybody anymore?
Exactly.
I know he probably has good intentions. You know, he tries to work with these young dudes and to build up the future. But at a certain point, like, you got to get out of the way so they can continue.
Exactly. You know, like what actually Andrade hasn't really benefited a whole lot from beating Chris Jericho.
No, he hasn't. So yeah, he's there. Let's talk about the good. Well, let's talk about something that's kind of curious. We just talked about the Young Bucks. They were asked about Sting, and they put him over. They're going to be as well. Okay, I guess we can talk about that. During the Sting Darby Allin video promo,
Oh, the tag title stuff, yeah.
They mentioned they want to go out as tag champions. The Young Bucks were the ones that interrupted them, which left a big cliffhanger. Is it going to be the Young Bucks taking them on? The reporting seems to line up with that. Is there going to be a tag title shot along the way?
It'd be interesting if the Young Bucks went up to Bill and Starks, namely Bill, because he's a former WWE guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that did the thing. Well, we don't think you've bought into AEW, so we don't think you should have tag titles. We're gonna have a tag match. So I guess you could do a situation where if the Young Bucks walk into their match at Revolution as tag champs, Sting and Darby win. Of course, either they'd have to vacate right away because Sting's retiring, or Darby has to find a new partner. I don't know. At this point, I have a hard time believing Sting's going to go out a loser.
Me too.
Like he and Darby are probably going to win that match, especially if it's going to be the main event. Although if there's a triple threat for the title, who knows? That might end up main eventing. But if it's Sting's last match, they're kind of building the entirety of Revolution around Sting's retirement.
Yeah, right.
So I would be surprised if the main event, especially if they're facing the Young Bucks. That's their main event caliber tag team, you know?
Yeah.
That they'll Sting and Darby will win. Confetti will fly. You know, there'll be pyro and tears from Sting, and he'll be going and hugging Flair and hugging Darby and high-fiving fans ringside to close the show. And it'll be, a huge celebratory moment for Sting in his career.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And if the Young Bucks walk in, or even if Darby and Sting walk in tag champions, he left a champion, Sting did. And they can worry about the logistics of finding a new tag champs. They can have a tournament. Darby can find a new partner, whatever. Worry about that later.
Yeah.
But I think if the idea is they want to put a belt on Sting on his way out, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. They're not really doing a whole hell of a lot with the tag team division right now as is.
No, they're not. They got one guy who seems like he doesn't want to be there, and Big Bill. So, yeah, I kind of feel like, I don't know if they're going to do this match in advance, but, yeah, I mean, it sort of seems like either they're going to win it there or they're going to win it before there, in which case, like you said, the Young Bucks would have to do that, win it first. But in any event, I mean, I don't know when Starks' contract's supposed to come up. I know people have talked about, like, oh, he's going to head to WWE.
This year, I think.
Sometimes this year, probably, yeah. I forget exactly when he debuted.
At the least, Starks seems like he'd be happy when it doesn't have to be in program with Chris Jericho anymore.
Ricky Starks debuts AEW. Let's see, when was that?
Well, when he debuted was against Cody's before he had a contract. So we got to find out. June of what?
2020,
right?
2020, yeah.
But that's when he had his match against Cody, right, for the TNT title?
Let's see here.
I think
Probably?
he had signed a deal then.
Okay. Ricky Starks looks back on his, I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't that long afterwards, though, was it?
No. It's probably this summer, his contract.
No. Let's see here. Does it actually say? I don't know. We'll look that up later. Oh, hold on a second. It says here. After the match. Yeah, okay, no, it was June 17th. I remember now. After the match, Tony Khan said he'd signed.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyways, hey, you know what? Talk about what people get for the Friendo Club setup, because this guy right here is just growling at me. I got to figure this out. So you talk about the Friendo Club setup. I'll try to do this very quickly.
I'll talk about the Friendo Club setup. So, Roman Reigns, he has the Tribal Chief setup, but that's only for Roman Reigns. It's only for one individual. It's for the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, head of the table. Especially not for Seth Rollins. Unfortunately, it's not for the rest of us. But we here, as Steven Larson's Going in Raw, WB and AEW podcast, we do have a setup that's for everybody, and that's the Friendo Club setup. So this is how you get it. Go to Patreon. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. You go to our YouTube, youtube.com/Steven Larson. You hit join, become members, and one or the other, for $5 a month, you get the Friendo Club set up. This is what you get. You get a weekly bonus episode, Friendo Cast, where we talk about anything but wrestling. You get to be in the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. We got one coming up for the Royal Rumble, where if you win, you get your picture with a digital version of Big Blue. You can see Big Red is back there. There's a blue version of that. You also get access to all the question threads where we answer questions at the end of the show every time we record an episode. So for $5 a month, that's what you get. You get the Friendo Club setup. Again, Friendo Club setup is for everybody. It could be for Roman, it could be for Seth, it could be for you, me, everybody.
Yeah.
Unlike the Tribal Chief setup, which is for one person.
Yeah.
And that's Roman Reigns, especially not Seth Rollins. Also, while we're talking about YouTube channels and stuff, you could hit that subscribe button. Try and get 199,991 subscribers. We're like 600 and change off.
Yeah.
But we're making progress. It's baby steps.
We are.
Day
man.
by day,
she's
week by
just
week.
Staring at me, dude.
This is going to be a thing, isn't it?
I try to gently lay her down and just have her chill.
Nah, she says.
She just stares.
She goes, huh? Nah.
She's just staring at me.
I can see.
I know. It's so irritating.
So if you haven't subscribed to the channel here at Steven Larson's Going in Raw W and AEW podcast, please hit the subscribe button. Hit that notify bell so you know we got new episodes on the way. We do at least 5 a week. Also, if you could, please. Let me see how many people are watching right now. We're, about half hour into the show?
It's an AEW review. Let me guess, 386.
524. You're wrong.
What? We're over 500 on an AEW
We are, but
review?
we only have 123 likes. We like to get at least 50%. So that means 260 likes minimum.
What in the world?
And if you don't start hitting that like button, guess what's going to happen? Steve's going to get the finger out and start wagging it in your direction. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm already dealing with this over here, so my energy is sapped.
Am I going to have to get the finger out then?
You might have to. And I think people respect you more, Larson. And I think that they would heed your words more than mine. I'm just goofy clown. Oh, look at my silly impressions. I think they would take your word a little bit more with more heft, more weight, more gravitas than mine.
We'll give them a chance to do it. Hit that like button, smash that like button, get us over 200 likes, please. And if by the end of the show we're not to where we want to be, then we'll see. Maybe the finger will have to come out and it'll start.
Gonna give you guys a good finger. And hey, we got some new patrons as well. We got Paul Unwin, Dakota Stanzel, Tristan Fry, MHJ is here, Liam Hudson, Rango, and that guy Maui. All new patrons. They all got the Friendo Club setup. I think they all got the Friendo Club setup. One guy didn't get the Friendo Club setup. 2 people didn't get the Friendo Club setup. But still, you know what? Maybe they're just dipping their toes in the water at that $1 level. That's totally cool. We appreciate it regardless.
Yeah, you still get the ad-free audio there, the $1 level.
You do get you do really? We're doing that still? I thought we bumped that up to the Friendo Club setup.
Oh no, that's always been.
Ooh, Uncle Larson is giving you guys some goodies at a cheap price.
$1 a month. You get the ad-free audio. Yeah.
Oh man, okay,
that's
all
for
right.
everybody who joins the Steven Larson. That's the way it's always been.
We got to bump that one up. All right. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into Dynamite.
Offer something to somebody now, and then
yeah, we're gonna be changing that soon, everybody.
Oh wow. Well, it's been for years.
Yeah, I know. I thought I mentioned at one point to bump it up, but maybe I didn't.
Nah.
So
here, let's talk about the good of Dynamite because there was some good. Toni Storm is always incredible.
Oh, she's awesome.
And so Tony Schiavone wasn't on commentary last night. Instead of it was Ian Riccaboni. Mm-hmm. And she sits at commentary during Deonna Purrazzo's match against Anna Jay, and she thinks Ian is Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And she's like petting his head.
Yeah.
Feed him cookies.
Yeah.
And she says something like, whatever you're doing with your foot under there, please do it harder.
I like what she said. She said, I've had the Virtuosa before. I won't tell you who gave it to me or when.
Gosh, she was so good. And so after Deonna Purrazzo wins, Toni Storm gets on Luther's shoulders and drops an incredible promo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Week
after week, there's something new.
Yeah.
Something different, something wildly entertaining that she's doing, and it's incredible.
Well, the funny thing is she said that she was going to go and punch Deonna Purrazzo right on her butt, but the way that
she said box.
No, well she said but the way she said it
sounded like box.
It sounded so much like box, but if because Sean Ross Sapp on Twitter,
I saw that he said butt at first too.
Said but and I so it was before I saw it, so I went and I watched it and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I think it's butt because I think it's a reference to the social media stuff, the body shaming people were doing with her. And I think it's a reference to that.
All right.
If it was in fact box, that's infinitely funnier and wildly inappropriate for freaking TV.
I know.
Which is amazing. If that was the case, that would be awesome and hilarious. And it could be either one. I just saw, what it said. And then I looked at her lips. I was like, oh, I think she did say butt, with just an extra emphasis on it. But regardless of what she said, it's hilarious. She's awesome. And the fact that she was able to maintain her balance while Luther was holding her up there all the way up to the ramp was absolutely hilarious.
It was pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. Also, the main event, Samoa Joe defeating Hook. I don't know if anybody does those type of matches, that being Joe going in as Monster and destroying, generally speaking, the undersized underdog. I don't know if anybody does those type of matches as well as Joe does. I know Brock, when he wrestles Daniel Bryan or Finn Balor or AJ Styles, even for that matter, when he wrestles wrestlers smaller than him, he seems to really enjoy that challenge.
Yeah.
But there's something about Joe's swagger.
His
shit talking.
He did the whole Vince walk around the ring.
Oh, it was great.
Hold on, talk about that some more. I gotta figure this out here.
Because you got Joe in there just chucking, whether it be Darby a few months ago or in this case Hook, around the ring, and so Joe can project confidence but not hubris. Like, he never really seems like he takes his opponents for granted, their abilities for granted. He doesn't take them lightly, even when he's in the process of utterly dismantling them. And he does a good job of selling when the underdog inevitably makes their comeback. But gosh darn it, like the 2 or 3 matches Joe had against Darby where he's just chucking Darby everywhere, in this match where he hits the Uranagi on Hook on the announce table and then power bombs him on the apron, just the level of destruction Joe can bring and then really back it up with his swagger and his shit talk is amazing. That's why I say Joe's better at that than anybody else. It's not just him going out destroying people, but the shit talking. It's so good. It's so good. So in the span of 8 minutes, they established Joe as your monster heel champ, and actually gave a little bit of dimension to Hook, because Hook was getting his ass kicked, and his attitude was, "Come on, bring it, Joe."
Yeah.
Is that all you got?
Yeah, it was awesome. The kick out at 1 on the Muscle Buster and Joe just getting so pissed off. I love that. The Uranagi was absolutely devastating.
That was brutal.
That was absolutely devastating. It was super brutal, yeah.
And then the power bomb on the apron right afterwards.
Oh God, yeah. Oh. That shit was absolutely devastating. Yeah, it was a really, really terrific match. A great showing for Hook. For the longest time they sort of did a lot of nothing with him. And I don't know, man. Last night he looked legit. He looked good. And he looked like he's ready for something. Now, again, whether or not they actually give him something to work with now or not, that's up to Tony Khan. I hope they do, because he showed a lot last night.
It's one of the many things AEW struggles with creatively, is maintaining momentum.
Yeah,
because Hook's gotten a lot of praise for this match and how he comported himself against a 20+ year veteran of Joe. And from a performance standpoint, Hook did his part damn well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
as the underdog going up against the monster.
Yeah,
chucked around all over the place. Keep coming back for more. Now, what do you do from here? It can't just be defending the FTW title, which I don't even think he really does, on Rampage. You got to tell stories with them. That's how he's going to develop some character dimension and get some momentum.
I think you could do kind of both at the same time. I feel like you can have him defend that title. Taz did it for years in ECW.
I'm not suggesting you can. I'm just saying I don't think he really does.
Yeah, you're right. That's the problem. But what you're saying is exactly right. You need stories to go along with it. Put it up, make it a prized possession, make it a thing, and don't make it like Orange Cassidy, where it's just okay, next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to go that direction with it. You got to do something with them, and you got to keep this momentum. They got a lot of great young pieces. You don't want to build them up into a certain point where they just end up going to WWE. You want to build them for the future. And in order to do that, you have to keep them involved and keep them interested in what they're doing.
Yeah. Yep. I guess we can jump into it. Show opened up with the Samoa Joe Hook video package, hyping up the main event. I like that. It made it seem like, hey, this match is important. We're going to hype it up.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to watch this match.
Mm-hmm.
First match of the night, Christian Cage defending the TNT Championship against the Natural, Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
So we had a conversation last night about why Dustin Rhodes is booked so strongly in AEW. And I told you, it's the older you get, the stronger you are in the world of pro wrestling.
There's a caveat with that, though. If you're a jobber, you don't get stronger. And that's what he is. He's an enhancement talent. Like, how often does he actually win matches? He doesn't win matches that often.
Well, I mean, maybe he does a Rampage. We don't watch Rampage, Steve.
That's a good point. Maybe
he's undefeated on Rampage.
He's like Mr. Rampage.
Could be.
He could be. Yeah, that's a possibility, I guess. But I kind of feel like whenever I see him, he's on the losing end of things. And I don't know. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. This wouldn't have bothered me so much because they're both old.
Yeah.
But the most egregious one, and the reason why I think I even texted you about that, I'm like, why did he look so strong? Is the Swerve one.
That rolls in.
That to me was too much. That was too much.
They had time to fill that. That was the time allotted for the Keith Lee match, and they were like, all right, take that same amount of time. I guarantee you that's what it was.
Yeah.
Rather than having to reformat the whole show. Just take the full 12, 15 minutes that you and Keith Lee would have got Swerve and have a match with Dustin.
Yeah.
Because in a vacuum, I agree with you that, there's no way that match should have been that long or that competitive at World's End between Swerve and Dustin. That should have been the pre-match beatdown with the cinder block spot, and then maybe Swerve just kind of really takes his time in the ring dismantling Dustin. It should not have been terribly competitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match was, and it was a solid bout. It was a fun bout.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Not surprisingly, Christian gets the win, although Dustin did kick out of a kill switch. He did hit a good-looking destroyer on Nick Wayne ringside that Nick Wayne sold like he was just knocked out from. Yeah. No,
it was a good sell. No, it was a really good match. It was a really good match.
And I appreciate that Dustin is continually updating what he does in the ring to keep up with what's going on in wrestling. He's just not wrestling the exact same way he was in 1988.
Yeah, right.
He's updating his style to keep with the times, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So after the second kill switch, Christian gets the win. He retains that title. After that, we had a Swerve Strickland interview. So Renee asks, you got your eyes on the main event tonight? And he says...
Sorry, dude. Go ahead.
Sorry. So Renee says, Swerve says, Renee, I got my eyes everywhere. I'd be foolish to not pay attention to the main event, whether it's Samoa Joe or Hook that comes out as champion, doesn't matter. But saying that I'm laser focused on going after the AEW title. Been preoccupied by the Continental Classic the last couple months, and no, I didn't win, but out of everyone who came out of it, who are they talking about the most? Swerve's on the top of everybody's mind. Now, that being said, that makes me the most dangerous man going after the most coveted prize in this industry, the AEW World Championship. So Renee asks about Hangman also going after the title. And so Swerve gets serious for a second. And then laughs and says, like I said, I got eyes everywhere. Hangman Page is an impeccable in-ring performer. He was an impeccable champion. I watched this man defeat Kenny Omega. I watched him beat Bryan Danielson. I watched him beat Jon Moxley in a Texas death match. Up until recently, I watched him run through Roderick Strong, J.D. Drake, Claudio Castagnoli. Hell, if God opened the clouds above us and came down from the heavens and everybody was challenged to face him, I think Hangman would have a chance. He still couldn't beat me. Done it twice now and I have no reason to do it again. And I've got nobody to prove it to. Whose house?
Swerve's house.
Swerve's house.
Yeah. After that, we had to many cheers, apparently, through the arena. At least the audio was to be believed.
For the audience viewing at home, that's what we heard.
We had a Chris Jericho interview. So Renee asked, where did him and Sammy go from here? And he says, I wouldn't say those tag titles slipped through our grips. I'd say they were ripped out of our hands by the Callis family. Takeshita Hobbs, you caused us to lose to Bill Big and Ricky Starks. You caused Sammy to be injured, so he's not here tonight. Hold on a second. Wait. Whoa. Wait a second.
Huh.
He's blaming the Callis family for Sammy Guevara climbing up that truss like he's one of them dudes who does like an 80-foot plunge into like a little tiny pool.
Yeah.
He's blaming them for Sammy Guevara doing a high-risk, high-reward situation and eating the risk on it. Get out of here with that.
It's nonsense.
He says, you took what was rightfully ours, and Takeshita, you hit me with a kendo stick, which caused me to get powerbombed through a table. It's like, look, you lost. Anyways.
Accept the defeat, Chris.
Yeah, he says, what do I get to use on you for revenge? Barbed wire baseball bat, painted glass, how about a pizza cutter? I don't know what it's going to be, but I do know this. And then, of course, he has to bring up the match that they had in Tokyo where he bizarrely beat Takeshita a month ago. He says, suddenly that match doesn't mean as much anymore. I'm going to seek and destroy your ass. And then Matt Sydal comes in, and he says, hey, Jericho, why are you losing it over this loss? To get over losing, you have to get back in the ring and fight somebody who's beaten you before, like Matt Sydal. And Jericho's like, look, man, I respect you. Some say you were born to do this. Get it? Because he was Matt Born in the time.
Oh, wow. Very clever.
He says, maybe I need a match. Maybe we need to do the match on Rampage. He said, but I got to warn you, I got a lot of pent-up aggression. I'll see you this Friday. Why does Matt Sydal sound like George McFly?
I don't know, man.
Hey.
Hey.
It's your density to beat me. I mean,
Destiny.
Your destiny.
After that, we got Orange Cassidy and Trent taking on Penta and Commander. You know, I was sitting here watching this match last night and thinking, why isn't Orange Cassidy defending the International Championship? Maybe that's the idea. Now that he's got it, you don't want to risk losing it by defending it anymore. Because he hasn't been defending it lately.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe that's it. Smart man.
Just trying to put it together. Like there's a reason for it. Otherwise, or Tony Khan's like, I got no stories for you. We'll put you in tag matches. Mm-hmm. Orange Cassidy and Trent get the win. I was kind of hoping Penta would pin Trent here, so Penta would get a international title opportunity. That didn't happen. So, finish saw Commander hit Orange with a kick, sends Orange out of the ring, misses a Phoenix splash on Trent. Trent hits him with a running knee. Penta then hits Trent with a super kicks, looking for a springboard. Orange catches him with the beach break. Then he hits Commander with an orange punch. Trent follows with strong zero on Commander to get the win. There's a lot of really fun stuff in this match. It was a good match.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Afterwards, Trent, Orange, Chuck Taylor, who came ringside with him, looking for the hug, but instead they're interrupted by Taven, Bennett, and Roderick Strong. So they all surround the ring, and eventually they get in. Roddy's got a mic and says, I know you've heard me say it to the fans. I know you've heard me say it to other people, but I came here to say it to your face. So take off your glasses and look me in the eyes. Orange! Take your glasses off now. And so Roddy reaches out to take the glasses off Orange's face, and Orange slaps his hand away. And Roddy says, we could end you right now if we wanted to, but we're not going to. Listen, you've been a fighting champion, willing to take on anyone at any time, but yet tonight you decide to wrestle in a tag match and not defend the AEW International title? But why? Is it all becoming too much? Are you afraid you have nothing left in the tank to keep it? Or is it because it belongs to me? I'm coming for you and you can't face it. So Orange tries to take the mic from Roddy, but Roddy blocks him. He says, because it does belong to me. I'm coming for it. I'm here to make you face it. And eventually, Roddy kind of leans the mic in to Orange. And Orange says, all right, you know what? You got it. Let's do it right here, right now. So Roddy takes his shirt off like he's ready to fight. Then says, you know what? Not right now. You're going to have to wait till March 3rd at Revolution because I want you for the next 6 weeks to live with that fact. To wake up every morning knowing that you're just keeping my title warm for me. Then,
you know, I like this. Finally, we got a build to international title match. I like that, you know, because now you can tell that story for 6 weeks and then it'll build some heat to it. So
exactly. Set up like within the next 3 weeks, they should set up the entirety of the card for Revolution. Mm-hmm. And then you got at minimum about a month to build for everything.
Imagine that.
Build.
Imagine that.
Storytelling.
Building some stories. Oh, man. Hangman Page, man, with the best stash in the business right now.
Stash.
Had an interview. Renee asked him about going for the title in 2024. He says, if you think back in the past 5 years, you'll not find another soul on this planet who cared more about the AEW title than I have, who treated it with reverence. But when I thought back, I realized that I wanted to win the title. But in 2024, not only do I want to win it, not only will I win it, I want to hold it. I want to make it mine. I want to put my name on it and keep it there for as long as I can. So he's asked about Swerve. And he says, Swerve seems to think about me a lot. I don't think about Swerve at all. But if he said I can't beat him, I'd tell you, Swerve, that it doesn't matter because you're not the world champ. Samoa Joe is. So I'll be watching tonight, and maybe when it's done, Hook, if you could do it, maybe it'll be you. God be with you if it is. God be with you. He sounds like a Red Dead character, and I love it. God be with you.
He looks like a Red Dead character, too, with that mustache.
He does, and he's grittier. Yeah. And, you know, man, I might catch some heat for this, Larson. Might catch some heat for this. I had this conversation with Maggie last night. She agrees with me. I'm going to call her out on this one because she agrees. She has my back on this one. And I might sound like a boomer on this one, Larson. I couldn't fucking stand when he used to wear like those flowery jeans. He wears shit with like flowers on him and like, you know, little frills and stuff. I like now he's like Johnny Cash, man. He's the man in black.
Well, think about it from a storytelling perspective. Why was he wearing that particular stuff at that time, and why has he changed it?
Yeah, because he was a clown before. Now he's cool. That's why.
That's Steve's interpretation. I would just suggest that the reason he wore whatever he wore at any time, there was a reason for it.
Yeah, because he liked little flowery things on his jeans.
Well, no, I mean, there's a reason for it in terms of the state of his character. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. He was all in his feelings. Boo. Yeah. Flowers represent feelings. Boo. Now he has none. Now he's just
post-Texas
grizzled bastard.
Swerve. Yeah, he's grizzled little bastard now.
Yeah, I love it. I love to see it. I love to see it. I'm down with the Dolly Parton shirt, though. I love her, man. I think that looks cool as hell. That looks cool as hell.
Yeah, he had one that was like bejeweled, right?
Yeah, no good. None of that.
Dolly shirt, though.
None of that. A black shirt with Dolly's face on it. I'm down with that. You take the bejeweled stuff somewhere else, man. This isn't a Michael's, art supply shop.
Oh, it's like very 70s country. Like country music when they had those embroidered in rhinestone suits.
Man, I don't think Waylon ever wore that stuff, dude. I don't think Johnny Cash ever did.
Well, no, Johnny Cash didn't.
Yeah, right.
Not about
exactly.
Waylon, but like mainstream.
That's not outlaw country.
Not outlaw country, but mainstream country.
Outlaw country.
This is Hangman's outlaw country phase.
Yeah, he needs to stay there.
I think the fact that he went there, makes where he is now more impactful because there's a transformation.
Yeah, he should have always been like this.
Where's the growth then? Anyways, next we got a Mark Briscoe promo. This was great.
Oh God, this got me in the feels, man.
Same.
Oh boy.
So he comes to the stage and says, "South Carolina, what's good? I come to you tonight representing the baddest tag team in the history of this planet, Dem Boys, the Briscoe brothers. Now, tragically, 1 year ago tonight, my partner, my brother, he passed on, man. Car accident. He moved on to the next level of existence. They say generations come, generations go. My nieces were in the truck with him, and they told my oldest niece that she was injured so severely, they told my oldest niece she'd never walk again. However, and so Jay's kids walk out to the stage with Mark. And he said, and they're all like the eldest niece, she's walking,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he says, we Dem Boys, we won't stop because we can't stop. We ain't going nowhere. We thank every one of y'all from the bottom of our hearts, and we love y'all, man. God bless y'all. And then he raises their arms and gives them all a huge hug. It was awesome. And then they ran a Jay memorial package afterwards. But man, seeing, because you remember hearing at the time that the injuries that his daughter, Jay's daughter, suffered were pretty severe.
I know.
And then seeing that, she fully seemingly from everything, that's really good to see.
It is. It was awesome. Man, oh man, this was great to see.
Mm-hmm.
This was really, when it hits real life like that.
Yep.
You put all the petty bullshit, aside, and you just appreciate that. Hey, it wasn't all doom and gloom. Yeah. This was that was really special.
It really was.
And then they followed that up with a Young Bucks interview. So anyways, this is really long, and I'm sorry you had to take all these notes here. But so Renee starts to introduce him. Nick cuts her off, says, "I'm sorry to cut you off, but can you show a little more respect next time? Call us by our God-given names of Nicholas and Matthew Jackson."
That's pretty funny. That's a good Nick there.
Yeah. He says, "You see, we're executive vice presidents around here. It's time to take this job a little more seriously."
Yeah. I like that you said call us by our God-given names when their last name really isn't Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. So Renee asks about the tantrums and rumors, and then Matt talks for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The rumors.
Here on out.
Okay, you want to go there? I think I know what rumor you're talking about. You don't believe that any of that is true now, do you, Renee? The things they say about us, the things they write about us, none of those are true. They're all fake.
And then he goes, well, imagine if they were true.
It's like what if I did do it? He says, but let's say hypothetically some of that was true. Some of the stuff you read was true. Let me ask you a question. What would you do to preserve and protect your life's work? What would you do to preserve and protect your baby? You and John have a beautiful daughter, right? Another thing that kind of bugged me too is that they would constantly cut to Renee eye rolling, and it's like a couple is fine, but god damn it, they were doing every 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was too much eye rolling. Yeah.
He says, you and John have a beautiful daughter, right? What would you do? I know what I would do. So just think about that when you come at us with rumors again. This is all hypotheticals, okay? Also, what would you be willing to lose? Would you be willing to lose your relationships with coworkers and friends? How about your reputation and legacy out the window? If you knew all that in hindsight, would you still do it if you knew that meant there would be a healthy, sustainable, thriving wrestling company called AEW? I know my answer. The answer is hell yeah, I'd go back and do it all over again. And speaking of the company being around, you got your paycheck this week, right, Renee? Yeah, you're welcome. So she asks about confronting Sting. And Matt says, when we started AEW, you weren't there. But in the beginning, we used to say, change the world. That was the slogan. And we did. We were disruptors. We were rebels. We spat in the face of tradition. It was out with the old and in with the new, Renee. And for a while, we were doing that. We were changing the world, and somewhere along the way, we did lose our way. It was like the culture shifted and toxicity crept into the locker room, and the perception of the company was just different. It was different, and I think I know why. I think it's because we started to lean on yesterday's self-serving, superficial, cancerous superstars. And you mentioned Sting. This isn't about him. Sting is none of those things. He's great. He's a role model employee. He's awesome. In the conversation of one of the greatest of all time. I'm actually envious of the way people talk about him. Maybe they'll talk about us like that one day. However, it's about what Sting represents. Sting is the last of that dying breed. The image of Sting isn't in line with what we're doing in AEW. We wanted to change the world. So unfortunately for Sting, we're going to have to say goodbye to Sting, and everybody likes Sting. We would never ask anybody to do anything we weren't willing to do ourselves, Renee. And then she asks if they're challenging him to a match of Revolution. And Nick shows Matt something on his phone and says, look at that. As EVPs, we'll pull some strings. And they get up and leave. And Matt says they have a meeting they have to go to.
Maybe that meeting involves the tag titles.
They could.
Yeah, it was too long. There's some stuff that could be interesting coming out of that. But again, depends if they go a more serious route, which I just don't really think is in the Young Bucks wheelhouse. Serious, dramatic stuff. Or they could go have fun with it.
You know what would be kind of interesting? What if they changed up their in-ring style a little bit, to address some of the criticism that they get?
Well,
they
just
wrestled
like a early 1990s WWE tag team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They start wrestling like Demolition.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
After that, we had the Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles defended. You had Brian Cage and Gates of Agony defending against Bang Bang Gang. Put them up, Steve.
Bang Bang Gang.
We got new 6-man tag champs.
Yeah.
Bang Bang Gang.
Bang Bang Gang.
Get the win here. It was a really fun match. Apparently, they fired Cardblade from Bang Bang Gang, and now it's Rock Hard Juice Board. They got cut out of Juice.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Did they?
It was a social media thing. It wasn't on the show.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
I miss Juice. I think
so
he's great.
Juice is still represented in Bang Bang Gang while he's out recovering. Was it a back injury or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, this match was fun. Jay gets the pin on Khan after a Blade Runner. The finishing sequence was really good, where Jay kept on trying to get a Blade Runner off, and Khan or a member of Gates of Agony would always evade it or break it up. It was the finish was really good.
Yeah, it was. It was cool. I wish there was like a little bit more of, I don't know, a build to them actually doing this, because it was a really short. I think last week they challenged them. I think.
I don't know. This might not be the case. You got to wonder if Brian Cage's injury might have played some role in this.
That could be. They needed to get it done quick.
So
that could be. Yeah, that could be.
And then of course, with Bowens coming out to help Bang Bang Gang win, as well as this I saw some speculation on social medias that they might be doing a trio / 6-man titles unification bout at some point, which I think would be a great idea.
Yeah.
There's too many belts in AEW right now.
I agree with that. I think it'd be a good. I think I suggested that last week. After that, we had an Adam Cole and Wardlow promo. Cole says, it's horrifying that Wardlow's not even scratched the surface on what he's capable of. But now with the Undisputed Kingdom, Wardlow will be unbeatable. This man will go down as the most dominant AEW pro wrestler of all time. I promise you that. Just wait and see as Wardlow continues to run over opponent after opponent until there's nothing left but the AEW title, which will then be the property of the Undisputed Kingdom. Ain't that right, big man? Wardlow shakes his head yes, says, boom.
It really is a bummer that Adam Cole wasn't the one to take the title off MJF, because this story just doesn't really feel like it has a whole lot of oomph behind it right now.
I'm willing to give it some time, man. I'm perpetually hopeful for Wardlow, man. You
I'm
know?
not necessarily speaking about Wardlow specifically. I think just the whole Undisputed Kingdom thing. Just the impact of Cole revealing himself to be Devil and being the one to take the title off MJF. That's just like super heartbreak right there. That's the emotional core of the story for both Cole and MJF, and the fact that didn't happen. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I know, but that had to have been circumstance, right?
Oh,
like
obviously. If Cole doesn't break his leg, then that happens. So no, I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a bummer that was the case, because I feel like if it had gone down as planned, it would have been really, really good. And now we just
I
feel
agree.
Like we're kind of spinning wheels until eventually Adam Cole and MJF, if they have a match. You know what I mean?
They're not good at pivoting. You know, like when you're presented with, and that's a tough hand to be dealt.
Oh, and
Adam Cole can't even walk, and it's like that's a tough hand to be dealt. And MJF is going through whatever injuries he's going through.
Yeah,
if he's even with the company still
expired, so
yeah, right. That's a tough hand to be dealt.
It is, and it's not like anybody's to blame. I'm just saying it's just watching what has happened since the reveal. It's hard not to just think, man, how cool or interesting what could have been if they had gone according to plan.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's unfortunately a missed opportunity. It's not, again, it's no one's fault. Injuries happen.
Mm-hmm.
But to think how that story coming to fruition as they planned it could have maybe actually really benefited AEW in terms of getting some eyeballs on the product if done.
Some much needed buzz. I agree. Absolutely.
It doesn't really feel like there's any buzz around Undisputed Kingdom right now.
There isn't. No, there isn't. And you're exactly right. That's why, because like the main guy can't walk.
Yeah.
That's not an easy thing to get around, as good of a talker as he is. And on top of that, do you think they should be having Wardlow be a bit more, I don't know, out there? Like he's just sort of in the background saying, mm-hmm, sure, yeah, right. I really liked the video vignettes they were doing with him leading up to the reveal. Thought they were good.
Yeah. Maybe it's this, like, since they're presenting Undisputed Kingdom as Adam Cole's thing, Wardlow as henchman. I mean, maybe part of it is like, wow, Wardlow is really good as MJF's henchman. He did great work there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's recast him in pretty much the same role now with Adam Cole and see if we can reignite whatever was the magic that was happening then.
I think you're right. I think you're right in the thing is probably a bad idea.
Yeah, probably, because it seemed like it's several steps backward for Wardlow. I don't know if you could recapture that magic, that dynamic between him and MJF that was going on for so long. Maybe that might be what they're doing, though. I don't know.
The chemistry was fantastic between those two. It really was a high point, yeah. After that, we had Deonna Purrazzo versus Anna Jay. You've already talked about Tony Storm on commentary just being absolutely great. And we talked about also the promo afterwards, where everybody seemed to have heard Box, which I heard as well. I just saw Sean said on Twitter it was a butt, so
yeah, no, I saw it was
Box.
Well. But then he edited it and said some people were saying it was Box. So.
Box is way funnier. We'll just go with that.
Yeah.
Although I know really at this point already in the YouTube comments, it's probably people say, "Oh, Steve's an idiot. She said Box." Listen, man. God damn it.
See, Steve is offering a different perspective, so people can interpret what she said however they want.
Boxgate, yeah, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Box is way funnier though.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, Deonna Purrazzo versus Anna Jay. This is a really fun match. Anna Jay had her shoulder taped up, so guess what? Deonna, whose finisher is an arm-based submission, going after that arm. Anna trying to fend her off. Got the Queen Slayer on, or trying to get it on at one point. Deonna reverses that to the Fujiwara arm bar. Anna gets the ropes. They're trading some forearms. Deonna catches a lariat from Anna Jay and locks on Vitas de Milo. That move looks devastating.
It does. Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
And Anna taps pretty quickly. So Anna Jay gets up. Deonna shakes her hand. Renee gets in the ring to interview Deonna Purrazzo. Asks her, with Tony Storm sitting right there ringside, commentary desk, do you have anything to say? And so Deonna says, absolutely, Tony, I don't know what's gotten into you. We've known each other for a long time. Hell, we used to be like sisters, and it's clear since I arrived in AEW that you've changed. You know what? So have I. You might have been friends with Deonna Purrazzo, but you've never met the greatest women's technical wrestler in the world, the Virtuosa. So that's when Tony grabs a mic, gets on Luther's shoulders, and says, "Technical? You're technical? Well, technically speaking, you're an artificially tanned hag. My past is none of your concern. I ought to climb in that ring and sock you right in that, whether it's butt or box. But we must go to commercial, darling, so stick around, chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoes." And then Mariah May chucks a shoe at Deanna. Well, Deanna picks it up and chucks it back at Mariah. But they're all still at the commentary area at this point. And so commentary is trying to dodge shoes.
Yeah.
So I think the shoe gets tossed back and forth a couple times. And Tony has Luther walk her around ringside and up the stage. And she's talking trash to Deanna and talking to the crowd the whole time. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. Yeah. That's going to be a hell of a match. That's going to be a hell of a match.
That would be a really good match. Give him 20 minutes, please, Tony.
Oh, my God.
Give him 20 minutes of Revolution.
Do it.
20 minutes.
Do it. See, Larson got his finger out for that one. Night. You did some finger pointing there, man.
Tony.
Wow.
Do it.
20 minutes was awesome. Your camera just auto-corrected for the focus on your hand. Well, it looked like it had a second ago.
It probably does. Here, if I put my hand up all the way.
Yeah, there it is. Hey, where's Chris Sabin from? Perfect clarity. Perfect clarity right there, just so we know.
After that, Private Party versus Top Flight.
This is fun.
It was fun. I was kind of surprised. For a good portion of it, there was a lot of ground-based stuff. I thought it'd be like 10 minutes.
You're surprised. Half these dudes have been blowing out their ankles and feet and legs and all that shit.
Coming back from injury.
I am not surprised at all, man. They're like, hey, we gotta chill out a little bit. We got possibly a tag team title run here. Let's just keep it safe and sound on the ground, man.
Maybe. I was like, wow, they're working body parts here. I wasn't expecting that from these two teams. It was a fun match, though. Yeah.
Oh, you got to think that's probably deliberate, you know?
Maybe.
It's like, hey, yeah, start working some limbs in there, man. It doesn't need to be all like, jumping and landing on your feet all awkward and shit, man.
So the finish saw Dante hits Quinn with a jumping knee, tags in Darius. They do some double team offense, and then Darius covers Quinn. Cassidy runs in to break it up, and then Cassidy sends Dante out of the ring. Darius hits Quinn with the Pele kick, but then Quinn responds with a drop kick. Dante hits him with a power bomb pop-up knee type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Super kicks Isaiah Cassidy. Cassidy hits a kick of his own, and then he runs into a boot. But then Private Party hit Gin and Juice on Dante. Darius rushes back in the ring, and Quinn rolls him up and grabs onto the second rope to get the win.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Good stuff.
So the commentary is like, well, did Mark Quinn intend to cheat to win, or is that just kind of accidental?
I wonder if they're booking this kind of long out, because if Sting and Darby end up with the tag titles, they're going to vacate them because Sting is done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Private Party's in line because they need to be. They've been in the company for 5 years and ain't done shit, really. You know what I mean?
Beat the Young Bucks?
What's that?
Remember they beat the Young Bucks?
They need to do that again.
Initial tag tournament?
Yeah, they got to do something. They got to do something with these guys and give them the tag titles.
Yeah,
because it's time that they need to get a move on here. Everybody's really excited. Oh man, a cool young tag team, Private Party. Let's do something with them. That was a long time ago, you know.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. They made that Sting and Darby video we mentioned earlier, where Darby says, our story is going to end with us getting the tag titles."
It was nicely filmed too.
Yeah, they took a bunch of clips from some of the previous stuff and kind of put them together with the voiceover from Darby. It was good.
Yeah, it was nice. And then we had our main event: Hook versus Samoa Joe. And man, this was so much fun, dude. Classic.
I could watch Joe beat up Hook, Darby.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Anybody of that size all day long.
Yeah.
Because he does it so well.
He does it, yeah.
And he sells for the other person for their comebacks. So the thought goes in your head, oh shit, they got a chance.
Yeah.
That's not him giving the beating. He is, man, just a consummate pro.
Mm-hmm.
Telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get people over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Samoa Joe is quickly going high up the ranks of my all-time favorites.
Made him pass the fuck out too. They didn't even make him tap out. They gave him the pass out. I love that. That was awesome. Yeah, that Uranagi, boy. Oh, God damn, dude. They replayed that like 5 times too.
I know. That was right on the base of the neck.
I know. It looked like it sucked. Like the great thing is too, like the head hit, like, but it hit the like little
the corner there.
Well, it wasn't the corner. It was like the little raised up.
Oh yeah. The hood of the announcement.
The hood. Thank you. Yeah, the hood. And so it looked maybe worse than it was, but it still looked really bad. And then when you see
of the announce table hit his neck, I mean, it was right there.
Dude, the freaking like what was his like the sort of like his where his shoulders were. Yeah. Like there was just you could see it. Like there was a giant red streak across there.
Yeah.
But god damn, that was awesome.
It was. Powerbomb on the apron right afterwards was pretty awesome too.
Yeah, that was rad.
So like at the bell, Hook just charges towards Joe. And it's just every time Hook mounts some offense, Joe just fends him off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the early part of the match. And then eventually Hook's looking for a T-bone. Joe blocks it, hits an elbow. Hook, though, takes Joe down with a double leg, hits a sliding clothesline, looks for a T-bone on the announce table because they make the way to the floor at that point, and Joe blocks and then puts Hook through the announce table with the Uranagi. And Joe leans into Hook and is like, do you understand now? Do you get it now? And Hook, in a moment of defiance, flips Joe off. Joe gets mad. Powerbombs Hook on the apron. This brings out the trainers. So they're looking over Hook. Joe, I think after the Uranagi, does a lap around the ring, kind of doing a Hook. I don't know if he's mocking Hook's kind of like strut around the ring he does before his matches or do more of a Vince type deal. I don't know.
It was awesome, whatever it was.
Like I said this when you were taking care of the cat earlier.
Yeah.
Joe's swagger and his shit talk is what really elevates him over someone like Brock Lesnar in these type of matches.
Oh, it's unmatched. Yeah, it's great.
It's so damn good. So Joe gets back in the ring. Hook barely beats the 10 count, gets to his feet, and then Joe just hits him with a power slam, gets a 2, hits a Death Valley driver, gets another 2 count, hits a muscle buster. Hook kicks out at 1 there. That's when Hook starts his comeback, eventually hits a T-bone, looking for Red Rum, but Joe, he's a submission expert. He's like, right. He gets out of that with ease, locks on the clutch. Hook passes out. Spectacular stuff.
Awesome.
So then Hook gets to his feet as Joe leaves the ring. And then Hook, still defiant, yells at Joe, is that all you got? So Joe gets back in, hits with another muscle buster, takes his leave. Well, Hook gets to his feet again and tells Joe to get back in there. So Joe's like, all right, if you want me to, I'll do this all day. Hangman's music hits. He rushes down the ring. Joe slides out. So Page is talking crap to Joe while checking on Hook. And then Swerve and Prince Nana are standing ringside. And Swerve's just staring at Page. And Page is helping Hook up while the crowd's chanting, whose house? Swerve's house. And then later on, they as that all's still going on, they start chanting cowboy shit. So, I mean, it seems inevitable we're getting triple threat at Revolution. I'm guessing Swerve and Hangman are going to be so focused on each other that Joe's going to retain.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get another Swerve Hangman match at Double or Nothing. And whoever comes out of that will probably be the next one to challenge Joe for a 1-on-1 type deal.
Given where they're positioning... They had obviously been positioning Swerve in this where he's at now has been a natural thing. It's relatively new for Hangman over the past 6 months to be in that sort of similar spot. Any chance that they really make a focus on those two guys and Swerve takes that title off Joe, but Hangman ends up taking the title off of Swerve?
It's entirely possible.
Seems like that's the route they're going to go. I really wish that they would grunge up their thing to focus on guys like that, you know? Like their product is so
slick.
We already have one place where the product is super slick, you know? Do something a little bit grungier, a little bit dirtier, you know? And like you got Swerve there who's got like, you know, whatever he's wearing, the mascara or whatever on his eyes.
Someone asked, put a picture of him up and he said he hadn't slept, asked him when's the last time he slept well. And he said August.
Yeah, and that's if he's applying some makeup to emphasize that. That's awesome.
It is.
But I kind of want the surroundings to reflect that, you know?
You got Outlaw Country Hangman Page there.
Yeah, right. No, you're exactly right, you know?
No, I agree. We've been saying this for weeks. Grunge up the presentation a little bit.
You know, dude, you ripped everything else off from WWE. You rip off the Attitude Era stuff, man.
In terms of the presentation, yeah.
It works. It fits. That's a joke, by the way, for all you AEW sweaties out there. My goodness gracious. We all know they rip off PWG and Ring of Honor.
And WCW.
And WCW especially.
Yeah.
Anyways. No, it's a good recipe they got going there. But, you know, add a little Attitude Era to the recipe, man.
Mm-hmm.
Get Jim Johnson out of retirement. Say, hey, can you clone, what was it, Thorn in My Eye? Whatever it was called?
Yeah, Thorn in My Eye, yeah.
Can you clone that? Can you do another version of that?
I don't disagree. I think that'd be a great idea. Alex Foster here. You want to answer some questions? I kind of just jump right into it.
Would you like to answer some questions, Mr. Lee?
Alex Foster here asks, who is a dark horse pick to win the Rumble? Alex Foster says, I'd say Solo if he got a talking to from Roman. I didn't know if Solo's going to be in the Rumble, but I understand why that would be a pick, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you consider Drew McIntyre a dark horse pick, but if a dark horse pick is anyone other than Cody or Punk, I'd say Drew McIntyre.
That's a great, yeah. I'd love that too. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Oh man, Robert Stack just gifted 5 memberships, 5 Friendo Club setups to the YouTube community. Thank you, Robert. We really appreciate that. That's so nice of you.
We David Matuszek here, member for 9 months. Apparently, Don Callis' family theme is called "Rise of the Drones." Is it like bees or actual drones under Callis' control? Like how the song is constructed?
I'd be kind of down if that dude had just like an army of bees at his disposal. That'd be unique in pro wrestling.
Yeah, and then recorded it and then pitched all the buzzing of the bees to create this cacophony.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be interesting.
Also a member now for 13 months. Big Horny Dude says, I've enjoyed 13 months of the Friendo Club setup. It's well worth it. Thank you, Big Horny Dude.
Thank you, Big Horny Dude. BJ James also became a member. Thank you so much.
Oh, man. BJ James. All right. Let's do it. Let's do some questions. John and Alistair voice. John says, similar to how Cross has a bunch of setups strung together to create a convoluted finisher, what convoluted finisher would each of you create?
Good question. Cobra clutch into a ripcord knee.
Okay.
And then as they're falling, you yank them up into a Death Valley driver.
Oh, wow. That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's more of a combo than a convoluted setup, but.
Yeah. I'm going to do a.
No, not Death Valley driver, a Burning Hammer. That's what I want.
You love the Burning Hammer.
I love the Burning Hammer. It's a great move.
I'm going to do a Styles Clash and then turn them over like I'm going to pin them, but instead put them in the figure 4.
There you go. It's like Styles Clash and they're right into a Boston Crab.
Well, yeah, but the figure 4, I can pin them with the figure 4.
That's
it's like
true.
They're already out. It's a Styles Clash. It's very powerful.
True. Chris Stanton asked, do you guys think AEW is spamming the kick out at 1 button a little too much lately?
No, I'm fine with it. I'm fine. I thought last night's was pretty effective. I thought the hook one was pretty effective. I thought it was cool.
I'm not huge on Barry the Muscle Buster, but it's fine.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, but you know what? It was a hook moment. I think it's good for him.
Do it with the DVD or something. Don't do it with the Muscle Buster.
Well, if you're going to do it with something, man.
Nah, not
You know who gets kicked out of one, I feel like a lot, is that Paradigm Shift, is Mox's.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not nearly
Well, that's why he has to do the elevated one, hits Death Rider.
Remember, like, that was like the strongest fucking thing.
I know, it was booked super strong for the longest time. I know.
Eastside, I mean, we kind of talked about this. He says, long term, what do you do with Hook? He says, I like him, but they've done next to nothing with him as far as character development, so I don't have much care for what he does. Well, that's what you got to focus on. Hey, that little social media promo that he had, I thought was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, film some more stuff of Hook. You know, I don't know, a night with Hook, and he goes into a gentleman's club. Oh, man. That's what I want to see. Show more of that.
Steve wants to see.
Show more of that. That's all the character I need to see. Yeah. Horny. That should be his character.
Blake Whitehouse asks here, has there ever been a time where your love of a wrestler has clouded your perception on if a match of theirs was actually good or not?
Probably.
You know, I like to think that I'm a fairly objective individual, but I'm sure there was a time where I was watching a Shawn Michaels match. I'm like, man, this is awesome.
This is great. It's brilliant.
Great.
And I'm like, you were saying that during the Saudi Arabia match.
You know what? I've still never watched it. Never seen that match.
You probably don't want to, man.
Nope.
It would be, you know what? It would be funny. That if we ever bring back something like the Smash Zone,
yeah,
watching epically bad matches could be really fun.
That could be fun, like Chronic versus Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Hogan versus Warrior at Halloween Havoc.
Oof.
Yeah,
that one I have seen. I don't really care to revisit that one.
It is funny though. It is funny to watch them just completely no sell anything they want to do.
CatDead7 says Miami Alien agrees to not incinerate Earth, though on the one condition to have Hogan put it over in a match. So Hogan has to do the honors to Miami Alien. Does Hogan do the job or try for some intergalactic politicking mid-match?
If anybody's going to be able to politic mid-match, it's going to be Hogan.
Hogan's going to sell out all of humanity.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's going to go behind their back and talk to the ref. Yeah, and then incinerated Hogan, and then incinerate all of humanity.
Yep.
Man, I don't know about this one. Jesse Halsey says, what's the most obscure piece of wrestling memorabilia you both own?
Oh, I don't really have that. Oh, I got a softball autographed by Sid, thanks to Steve.
Yeah, man. Shit, I don't know. I don't know. I got that really cool Chess Man action figure over there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that somebody
cool.
got us.
That's good.
So, yeah, Chess Man action figure, I guess.
Doc Hensla here asks, I have stopped watching AEW due to the company's repeated failure in promoting showing women's wrestling. Simple question, why should I give a damn about AEW now? If what they do doesn't appeal to you, then don't watch.
Then you shouldn't give a damn about it.
Then don't give a damn, yeah.
Well, no, I'm not here to give you reasons why you should care about something. If you watch it, you don't like it, then guess what? One less thing you got to do during the week. White Brownie says, if you could switch any faction from AEW to WWE and vice versa for 1 month leading to a pay-per-view, who would it be? Put Judgment Day in AEW.
Okay. What AEW faction?
I would actually like to see Bang Bang Gang in WWE.
That'd be fun. That would be fun. Sebastian Garcia says, which wrestler has the most W Riz? And which has the most, what's this, L ratio?
That's probably Lexus King.
Yeah. Or is that supposed to be L Riz? I don't know.
At this point, I'm gonna say Hangman's got that Riz, man. He does. That stash alone is enough, and then he got rid of all the flowery garbage,
I never knew you were so down on
it bugged the shit out of me
on 70s mainstream country.
And people are like,
Hangman.
oh, he's sensitive Hangman. He could be sensitive and still wear cool shit. Why you look like you fell into a garage sale, dude. Get out of there. What are you doing? Were there no normal jeans left?
No.
On the rack. Just the flowery shit.
Not where he
shopped.
Like, nope.
Well, I need my denim.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, no. You know me though. I'm big, and I never, because I don't want to be like disrespectful to like Hangman, because I love Hangman. I always have.
Yeah, he's great.
But like, yeah, you know me. Like, I'm big on aesthetics.
Yeah. Like I said, I would just consider it in terms of the story he was trying to tell about his character.
There are other ways you could tell that story, man, without a bunch of flowery bullshit on your jeans. Bunch of rhinestones. I'm like a rhinestone cowboy. Bam, bam.
Some Glenn Campbell for you, everybody.
There you
Maggie
go.
here says Roman Reigns has the most Riz. Anyone else is wrong.
Oh, that is a good point.
Roman has a ton of Riz.
That is a goddamn sexy man.
You got that right.
Shit.
You got that right.
No yeet. I don't like that.
Yes, Riz for Roman, though.
Yes, Riz.
Louise says, what is one thing you're looking forward to happening in AEW in 2024 apart from Swerve becoming champ?
What's the thing I'm looking forward to most in 2024?
Yeah. In AEW.
Oh, in AEW? They do like a segment maybe where Hangman, realizing that the flowery bullshit is El Riz, he gets like a fucking, like one of them barrels, throws all that bullshit into the fire set to Johnny Cash's version of Hurt.
Wow, you're really... you're that anti the flowery jeans.
Yeah, dude.
My goodness.
Oh man, he come running out there to make a save. I'm like, dude, come on, man, you're a clown right now. Nobody wants this save. Go back. Get back up the fucking ramp, man, and go change, dude.
Wow.
Put some young boy trunks. I don't care what. Just get out of that shit.
My goodness.
Hey, you know what, man? I'm there already. You know, I said it, so I gotta wear it on my chest, dude. I gotta be big about it.
So Mr. Forbesy says, Larson, I think you know what Steve's next birthday Christmas gift is going to be. You're gonna get a bedazzled Dolly shirt.
You know what? I usually, whenever you get me something, here's the thing though. I think there's got to be a little bit of pride from your point of view, because whenever you get me a new pair of kicks, man, I wear those proudly.
I know what you like.
Because I'm like, my dude knows my style. But like, you get me that, they'll never see the light of day. I will not feel obligated because I'll consider it a gag gift. It's like, oh, this is funny. It's kind of like that shirtless painting poster that Maggie got me of Callis and Kenny. It's hidden behind it's on the wall,
but it's
because
there.
I love Maggie, but it's behind the titles over there.
Yeah.
I got family that comes over sometimes. I can't have that.
We can work on that. There's a way around that, I feel like.
There's no way around that.
There's a way around that. There's a way. There's always a way.
As you're fond of saying. Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. I don't know. I feel like you wearing the bedazzled Dolly shirt, that's W Riz for Steve.
Bro, no, man. I'm well aware of where my Riz lies. And it ain't there.
I don't know, man. You might open up a whole new level of Riz with that shirt.
I mean, I welcome any challenge, Larson. I welcome you to try. Try.
We'll see.
Just don't be offended when I don't wear the thing. Elemental Giant, who's a bigger fumble? Bobby Roode's main roster call-up, Miro after his TNT title reign, or Bayley in her first babyface run?
Oh, it's Bob Roode.
It's and there's like a huge gulf, like a massive gulf, and then it's the others. Bayley as the Bayley was basically doing my child gimmick. It's like, why are you like in your mid-20s?
She was pretty successful. I mean, that gimmick didn't hit on main roster like it did in NXT, but she was champion with that gimmick. It wasn't like it was a total failure.
It would. Let me ask you this: do you think that was a gimmick very specifically suited for success in a small venue like NXT with a familiar crowd that gets to know that person?
I mean, I can see why it would be easy to make that assumption, but no, I think there's a way you can make. I mean, I'd imagine that's why they ran with it, but they probably saw that gimmick and like, oh wow, this is how we're going to connect to a younger audience is with Bayley. It just wasn't ever presented in any way effectively on main roster. She was having squash matches against enhancement talent. Like when she got called as main roster. Like, that's not how you book that character.
I'd have to go back. I'll be honest. I'd have to go back and look at how she was presented, because you make a good point. I'd have to go back and see how she was presented in promos and stuff in NXT, because they presented her as like a weirdo who didn't know how to grow up on main roster.
Yeah.
And it's a different creative situation. It's Vince McMahon and his people,
yes.
As opposed to, an NXT. But yeah, I'd have to go and look. I mean, I guess it's a no-win situation if you're that kind of character under Vince McMahon, which that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they could have worked with that in a bigger way.
Oh, definitely. I think they definitely could have. Definitely.
Like a rhinestone cowboy.
All right. What's your favorite Glenn Campbell song?
Probably that. I don't really know a lot of other ones, man.
Oh, you should listen to Wichita Lineman. That's a great song.
Yeah, all right. I'll do that right after the show today.
That's a great song.
How's it go? Can you sing us out?
For the county. It's a good song.
Can I get a Larson version of that song?
And I drive the main road. Searching in the sun for another overload. It's a great song.
Oh, you got some
REM does a good cover of it too. Oh, there you go.
That was awesome. God damn it.
What a great song.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.